What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down and doing some film analysis on, I feel, the best wide receiver in college football, and that is Jeremiah Smith. So he's a true freshman. I think he really has pretty much every single attribute that you look for in a wide receiver. He's got speed. He's got great size. He can run great routes. He can make plays with the ball in the air. He can make one-handed catches, literally everything, and that's what we're going to be breaking down today. So the first route we're going to be looking at here is just like a simple 5-yard out, but he's going to be running this 5-yard out against a DB who is in man-to-man coverage, but he has outside leverage. This is a tougher route for a lot of young wide receivers to run, but Jeremiah Smith executes it pretty much to perfection, and it shows like just the physicality that he carries at the wide receiver position. So I'm going to play at full speed, and then we'll break it down. So off the ball, he attacks that DB's inside shoulder and uses a move called a throw-by move. So this throw-by move, that is not a push-off, you guys. This is a totally legal move. It would be just deemed as like hand fighting between the wide receiver and the DB. If he's going to get physical with us, we could get physical right back. So why does he decide to run the route like this? So pre-snap, obviously Smith is lined up with a reduced split. So what a reduced split means is that he's lined up closer to the offensive line, like his split is cut down. Normally an outside wide receiver would be lined up on like the bottom of the numbers or the top of the numbers, but because his split is cut down, he's going to get a DB. Any DB who's smart, the reason why a wide receiver would cut his split down is generally to give himself more space to the outside, or maybe he's going to run some type of drag route. If he runs a drag route, this DB has help to the inside, so he's going to play outside leverage because he does not want to get beat to the outside, and he's expecting an outside breaking route. So if I have to run that outside breaking route, what I want to do is I want to attack his inside hip and his inside shoulder. If I can do that, my goal is to get him to flip his hips open to the fade so I could cut underneath him and have all this space for the quarterback to lead me. So when Smith comes off, he obviously goes to attack that inside shoulder and inside hip. But when he does that, this DB's right on his hip. So that's when you would execute a throw-by move. And a throw-by move is where you put your hand on the back of the DB's shoulder, back of his hip, you swat him by, and then you slip back underneath. And obviously, what he's able to do to this DB shows just kind of the strength, the physicality he has at the wide receiver position that any receiver can really benefit from. Now, if you're on the smaller side of things watching this and you're like, well, how can I execute that move? You don't got to throw the guy to the ground, but that's the concept. Again, I feel like all of these big plays are set up by knowing how to run efficient routes and knowing how to have efficient movement off the line of scrimmage with your routes. So I'm going to play this again full speed, then we're going to get into some catching clips here of Jeremiah Smith to show the type of ball skills that he ultimately has. But that's a great example of a throw-by move on just a simple 5-yard out or maybe even a quick corner route. Now, before we get into this next player from Smith, guys, if you're a wide receiver or a quarterback watching this and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we are going to be traveling out to 13 more states across the entire country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps, guys. Next up on our camp tour, fellas, we're going to be coming out to Phoenix, Arizona. Then we'll be heading out to Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas. All 3 of those camps are completely sold out, but then you guys, we'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Nevada, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, Newark, New Jersey, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and finishing off the tour in Los Angeles, California. So guys, if you're local to any one of these cities, we have remaining spots left, but they all will sell out, just like our first 5 camps are sold out. We limit spots so each athlete can get individual coaching and individual attention. So guys, if you want to sign up, check out that very first link in the description below. Again, very first link in the description below. If you're local to one of these cities or would like to travel out, we'd absolutely love to have you out for 2 full days to train you and work with you with myself and, again, my staff of guys. So very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. So now this next example here is just an insane one-handed catch that Jeremiah Smith's able to make against Michigan State. Obviously scores on this play, so let's talk about this. Now, a lot of people will say that, like, this play is not something that wide receivers can, like, I guess you could say work on. Like, this is just, like, a natural, God-given talent that Jeremiah Smith has, and I'm sure there's some of that applies to this. He's probably got an insanely strong grip. He's probably got great hand-eye coordination, but honestly, guys, for a lot of wide receivers, I feel that's something you could work on. So it's like anytime that you're, like, and a lot of people will never, a lot of receiver coaches will never work one-handed catches with their guys. That's something that I like to do with my receivers just because you never know when you're going to be put in this situation, especially if you're a wide receiver who's, like, competing for play time. Like, let's say you're a high school guy, a youth wide receiver, like, you know, nobody expects you to make this type of catch. Like, nobody would be upset if this ball was thrown and it just bounced off of Jeremiah Smith's hands. And it's like, oh, well, this guy was grabbing on his arm. He couldn't get 2 hands up there. But obviously, he's able to make this catch. And these are the types of plays that you see him make week in and week out. And that's why everybody's talking about this guy. So if you're a younger receiver, like, and you can make these types of plays, that's what's going to get you on the field. And that's going to keep you on the field because you are a playmaker. What we want in receivers is we want explosive playmakers. And that's what Jeremiah Smith obviously is. You never know when you're going to be in a situation where a DB is going to be grabbing your arm and you can't get two hands up there. So every now and then with my receivers, we'll warm up our hands, but we'll work maybe 20 catches with the right hand, 20 catches with the left hand, just to get you used to that. As a receiver, something you could do to help with this is work on your grip strength, fingertip push-ups, something called farmer's carry, where you carry two really heavy dumbbells and you just walk with them to strengthen your grip. All of that is going to help with this type of one-handed catch, and you never know when you're going to be put in this situation and have to make a play. So let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Another great example of the ball skills that Jeremiah Smith has and why he's one of the best wide receivers ultimately in the college game right now. So this is another example of a catch downfield, and then we're going to get into another route that Jeremiah Smith runs, because again, a lot of people don't talk enough about his route running. I think everybody loves to talk about the jump ball catches, the catches in traffic, what he can do with the ball in his hands. Not a lot of people talk about his route running, but let's talk about this catch first, and then we'll get into his route running. So I think this is something you see a lot of high-level NFL wide receivers do, and that is a concept called late hands. So whenever that ball is thrown over the shoulder and you have a DB who's right on your hip, that DB's not necessarily like running with his head back. He's not like playing you, looking back, playing you, looking back. Like he's playing us specifically. And even more specific than that, he is going to be playing my hands. So a lot of receivers, when they have this over the shoulder pass thrown, they hear the phrase, like as receivers, we hear this phrase all the time. You want to go up and high point the ball, right? A high point catch is when that ball is underthrown. Like if this quarterback throws that thing not into the goal line and he throws it like on the 5-yard line and we got to come back to the ball, yeah, we want to go up and get it. We want to go up, jump ball, go up strong, secure that pass, rip it in, take it from the DB, right? But if this ball keeps me in stride, I don't want to let this DB know where the ball is until it's too late. And so that's the concept of having late hands. So you see how Jeremiah Smith doesn't show his hands and raise his hands up. What he does is he waits for this ball to fall, and when that ball is at chest level, he shows his hands last second. That is called late hands. That's not letting the DB react and make a play. Because at the end of the day, like he's not super wide open here. Like this DB's on him pretty good. Quarterback throws a great ball, obviously, but as a receiver, we got to put the icing on the cake. So don't show your hands too early and let that DB know exactly where to play it. Be late with those hands. Trust those eyes, and when you can catch that ball chest level, that DB has no chance, and then that's an easy way to be more consistent with your over-the-shoulder catches. So all the time you see NFL-level wide receivers do this. Like I see Justin Jefferson do it all the time, Devontae Adams, two of the best route running or two of the best like pure receivers in the game, I guess you could call it. So having late hands is a great concept that all wide receivers can have over the shoulder. Don't high point it unless we got to come back to the ball. If it's over the shoulder and dropping in, be late, catch that thing right at your chest. So now let's take a look at this routing from Jeremiah Smith. So he's going to be out of the slot right here. This is against Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and he's going to be running a corner post. So anytime that we were doing a double move route, you guys, so like a double move, for example, for those of you watching this, maybe aren't familiar with that terminology, a double move would be like, let's say the quarterback's over here, let's say the receiver's here. A corner post would be you break to the corner for 3 steps and you break back to the post. You break to the post for 3 steps, back to the corner. You break to a slant and then you push up vertical. What's another one? You could break to an out route and then you push up. Anytime that we were running a double move, the first move obviously has to look exactly like how you would run the first move. If he was just running a regular corner, how would he run it? When he breaks to that corner, there would be no change in speed. There would be no change in like the length of his strides, and there would be no change in his body language. His hips and his shoulders would say that he is running a corner. And those are the 3 things that are going to get a safety, a DB to bite on that move. So you see when Smith breaks, it comes up a little bit faster, you guys, but when he breaks to the corner, you see how he's accelerating to the corner. A lot of receivers, because they know they're cutting back in this direction, what they'll do is they'll cut to the corner, but they slow their speed way down. And when you slow your speed down, you're going 50%. That tells this DB, hey, I'm about to make a cut. So that DB's not threatened to the corner anymore. So he's expecting the double move. But if you can break to the first part of your double move and have some speed, have some long strides, and you see how his hips and his shoulders are committed. I know this DB has his back turned. He's doing like a speed turn, which I'm not the biggest fan of in this situation, but I feel like that's the way the kind of the coverage was played. It's more so speed and stride length, but even so, his hips and his shoulders are both saying that he's going to the corner. If this DB was squared up and his eyes were on our hips, that would be enough to get him to bite. And then you see, he puts the brakes on for 3, and you look at all the separation he's able to get. So guys, again, Jeremiah Smith doesn't get enough credit for the way he's able to run routes. The way he's able to run routes is absolutely fluid, absolutely insane. You look at any of his high school film, this guy is one of the most complete receivers, I feel, in the history of college football, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do these next couple of years.